Hi there, Guy from Bugs and Stuff and GiantSpiders.com here. In this short film, we're back in Tanzania and searching for a dwarf species of tarantula that's never been filmed before. A Heterothele species we think is most likely Heterothele spinipes. You join us driving towards Morogoro, a city approximately 196 kilometers west of Dar es Salaam, and the starting point for this field trip. This was our second visit to Tanzania, so it was good to be back. A smaller than normal team for this trip, just the three of us. That's me on the left, Richard Gallen in the middle, and Ralph Conan on the right. It took us around 6 hours to drive to Morogoro from Dar es Salaam, so it was a welcome sight when we eventually spotted the beautiful Uluguru Mountains off in the distance. As you can see, our accommodation for this area was quite nice, with a nice view of the mountains. So the next day we started our search. It was very dry at this time of year, but luckily we managed to find some interesting inverts while searching. A nice millipede, some cool jumping spiders, some big thorny crickets, and a selection of tenid wandering spiders. Heterothele builds a messy silken retreat, usually on the ground among leaf litter, and the dense white silk thankfully made them relatively easy to spot. Within this silk, the spider spins tunnels within which to move and hide. They can also be opportunistic, as can be seen here. A web spun alongside a falling log, and we have also found them in embankments and in the lower branches of small trees, which you'll see a little later. At another site, we also found them under loose pieces of falling bark, again with a characteristic dense silken retreat. Thankfully, as they don't dig deep burrows, they're easy to extract. It's just a matter of gently removing the leaf litter and finding the spider inside. So as you'd expect with Heterothele, they're a small brown spider with long spinnerets, which help them to create that dense webbing. They're not as strikingly marked as other members of the genus, the abdomen chevrons being rather muted. Still a nice looking spider. Spinipes was described by Pocock in 1897 from Ugogo, German East Africa, which was part of what is now Tanzania.
Okay, This is a Heterothele species that we found near Morogoro. We think it's a Heterothele spinipes, but we're not 100% sure. More research is required for this. We found it at the base of this small sapling. In the thick leaf litter there's a very thick dense white web which it was living just below the leaf litter level. We're going to repair its burrow and return it now we've photographed the specimen in situ.
So, not a bad start for the first day in the field. Lots of these small scorpions around our accommodation that were active at night and very easy to spot using a UV torch. The next day we spent in the foothills of Mount Uluguru, and it didn't take us long to spot another obvious Heterothele burrow, but this time in the embankment. Again, the spider was easily extracted for photos, a slightly larger specimen and a little darker in coloration.
Welcome. Might just recognise itself. Is that it?
Oh, it's gone in. It's gone in.
Went in?
Yeah, it went straight down.
Something dropped down. Good there.
Yeah, it went straight in. Much wetter up in the mountains, demonstrated by the wildlife, such as these rather large slugs. Now, when we were in Tanzania the first time, we found Heterothele villosella in the western Usambara mountains, which we documented in a previous video. But later in this return trip, we visited the eastern Usambara range, and we were lucky enough to find this species again. So let's take a quick look at that one to compare with spinipes. I think you'll agree that is a nice looking spider. Villosella has much more bold markings, and we found these in a totally different habitat of forested hillsides.
Cool.
So there you go, another tarantula species filmed for the first time, Heterothele spinipes. Thanks as always for watching.